I'm trying something different one last time before I settle on one style. This one I'm going to just give my thoughts on the chapters, no recap, and before I forget, there are spoilers for the chapters I talk about. This is mainly for the few chapters that I don't usually cover, or some of the newer ones. So with that being said, I'm going to start with My Hero Academia 306. This was a interesting chapter, with Deku seemingly leaving to go train or go after Shigaraki. The press conference of Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist was a different take on the old "the villains destroyed things, but really the heroes are at fault for not stopping them" trope that you find in most superhero stories, which I thought was handled well, especially seeing how each of them handled it differently, with Hawks and Endeavor revealing every bad thing they did during and before the arc, mainly saying that what Dabi said was true, Best Jeanist telling the press that they're making shelters out of UA and other fortified schools, getting a negative reaction from them, and the fact that people have lost faith in heroes were all great fallout consequences to the battle. And with the way that the story is looking, it seems as though the story is reaching its end, not going on to a time skip for Deku to get stronger. So I think the series as a whole is going to end at about chapter 400. We'll see if I'm right or wrong in the next coming weeks, but I don't see it lasting longer than that at this current point. So overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was good in finishing up the arc and starting the next one. Well, the final one. Now we're on to Black Clover, chapter 286. This was a fast-paced chapter as we get the entire backstory of Noct and Morgan, showing their differences and that they're both actually friends with Yami in the past. I was almost right, as Morgan did die, but how that happened I didn't see coming. It showed that Noct's family deals with devils and that Morgan, being the shining light of the family, was actually not what they wanted, where Noct was. Noct ended up following the family trade and being great at it, and he even fell in love with it too. Until they tried summoning a high-end devil, which ended up killing everyone but Noct and Morgan. Morgan destroys the bracelet the devil was summoned from, but dies in the process. Noct blames himself for what happened, and realizes that he loved his brother. It's where he ended up getting sort of jealous with Yami. Noct then vows to kill Lilith and Nama, and I think all other devils, before they hurt any more good people. So that was the backstory. It was good, as it showed Noct's motivations and goals and why he was mean to the rest of the Black Bulls and told them they'll never be good people, as good people are just naturally good people. Overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was good with a very fast pace, which I can see a lot of people not liking it for. Now we're on to Mashle, Magic and Muscles, chapter 55. This was a good chapter, showing the absolute strength of Marguerite as he beats down two students from the third team, which once he beat them, that round ended. So we have Mash's team, Finn and Dot, and Marguerite's team, Garpacchio and Lance, as the last competitors. So next week it should be Mash versus Marguerite, which should be great as the crowd were hyping Marguerite up, saying he was the only one to challenge Rain last year. Also, Carpacchio admitted that he was outclassed by Finn and Mash, and that he doesn't like pain after feeling it. So overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was a good conclusion to the Mash-Carpacchio fight, and teasing the Mash-Marguerite fight was cool. Now we're on to Undead Unluck, chapter 56. This was a pretty great chapter, with Billy's new objective and Juiz not giving up on Billy. So the fight between the two finishes in a surprising fashion, as Billy reveals he never trusted anyone in the Union and only used them to have a better shot at killing God. Juiz attacks him, not believing him, and uses her unjustice ability to see what his true justice is, only to see that he shot her arm off, which was a surprise to me as he gains the upper hand again. But Juiz leaves through some sort of power, ending their fight. The last major thing of the chapter is that we see Billy's new goal is to take Fuko by any means necessary and bring her to Under. That should make for an interesting new arc, as Fuko and co worry about Summer. They're being hunted without them knowing it, because the Under sent one of their members over to where Summer was to, I guess, monitor it, stop the Union. I don't know. Overall, I think I'll give that chapter an A. I really like this chapter. I think the story is taking some fun turns and interesting decisions, and I look forward to seeing where they lead. Now we're on to Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 143. I thought this was a good chapter, with the twist that Iota was actually on Itadori's side and saved him by killing him and immediately healing him, which was cool in that the next arc is going to be some sort of death game amongst Jujutsu sorcerers. So that should be interesting. Overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was good, but I don't have much to say on it because I barely know what's happening as it is. Now we're on to Sakamoto Days, chapter 16. This, as a whole, the manga as a whole, is great. And this chapter was a bit of a nothing chapter, with us learning that Sakamoto really loves his daughter and is willing to do anything to make her happy. But the chapter itself is so funny, with Sakamoto and Shin trying to get a limited edition backpack for her, and everything being unnecessarily difficult. I really enjoyed this chapter, so overall I'd give it a B, because while it was funny and entertaining, it was still a nothing chapter, which I hope there are more of to really show the characters in just normal-ish situations, and they are fun to read, even if they don't push the plot forward necessarily. Now we're on to Untitled Chapter, chapter 8. It was a pretty great chapter, with a major character death and the main villain escaping. It also showed more about what really happened with Riza's original kidnapping, and the end of the chapter takes a twist I didn't see coming, with the police chief having to kill Riza. I don't think this will happen, as Sekon will probably intervene to stop it. The chief will then have it that the two of them will always work together, and if Riza steps too out of line again, she'll be killed, or something like that. We'll see if I'm right next week. Overall, I'd give this chapter an A. I thought it was great. Having a lot happen early on so I can slow down later is a good move to get people interested. Hopefully there's a lot of character work and many more cases to come. Now we're on to Phantom Seer, chapter 28. A good chapter where we learn what happened to the first beckoning hand that Iori had to guard and why he's so against people sacrificing themselves for him or just in general. We see that he also seems willing to summon his monster demon thing and fight the puppet master after the flashback. Overall, I'd give that chapter a B, a good chapter with some solid character development and growth. We're now on to Spy Family, chapter 43, which was a fun nothing chapter, but the ending implies the next chapter and the next set of chapters as a whole will be pretty good. The chapter was Frankie trying to find a cat for the waitress of a cafe he goes to. He thinks it'll earn him favor with her to get the cat back. Yor ends up helping him, and we see some fun shenanigans between the two of them and the cat. Yor then shows off some of her fierceness, and the cat is saved. The end of the chapter shows Yor getting a phone call for some assassination work, which is interesting because in the beginning it's mentioned that some spies are rumored to be killed by assassins, this legendary assassin group. So that might lead to some fun stuff later between Twilight and Yor, seeing as how they'll end up having to play some sort of cat and mouse game, potentially. Overall, I'd give this chapter a B. It was fun seeing Yor trying to help Frankie, and her phone call at the end tied the whole thing together. The next few chapters should be good. And that's all the chapters for this week. I may add or remove some if I have something or nothing to say about a particular chapter, like 9 Dragon Ball Parade and The Elusive Samurai were both good, but I just didn't have much to say about them. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know which style works best or any other thing about the video or the chapters themselves. But with that, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, and as always, thank you for watching.